The living room glowed, just the Christmas tree lights white or multicolored depending on your family, and maybe a little light spilling in from the street lamps outside. Presents piled under the tree wrapped in shiny paper with Santas, snowmen, holly, or cartoon characters. The smell filled the whole house. If you had a real tree, it was pine, sharp, fresh, alive. If you had an artificial one, it was that mix of plastic and dust from the attic box, maybe with a spritz of fake pine scent your mom had sprayed earlier. The TV in the corner played a Christmas movie or a late-night special, volume low, just background noise. And you lying in bed, too excited to sleep or tiptoeing down the hallway to peek at the tree one more time, you knew tomorrow was Christmas. If you were a kid in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, you remember how Christmas felt. This video walks through what Christmas really felt like back then. From decorating the house and tree to the long wait and Christmas Eve, to Christmas morning gifts, to long family days with food and games, and the quiet, glowing night after it all. Which part of Christmas did you love most? Decorating, Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, seeing family, or the food? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you enjoy trips back in time, hit that like button and subscribe. It started with the boxes. Big cardboard boxes from the attic or the basement, dusty and bent at the corners, labeled Christmas in faded marker. You'd haul them down, open them up, and there it all was: tangled strings of lights, ornaments wrapped in old newspaper, decorations that smelled like storage, and last year and every Christmas before that. The tree was its own event. If your family got a real one, you'd drive to the lot or the farm, walk between rows of trees, arguing about which one looked best. Your dad would wrestle it through the front door, pine needles dropping everywhere, that smell filling the living room instantly. If you had an artificial tree, it came out of a box in pieces, metal branches color-coded with paint, or hinged sections that had to be fluffed out, plastic needles squeaking as you pulled them down. Decorating the tree was ritual. First, the lights, testing them, finding the one burned-out bulb that made the whole string go dark, replacing it, trying again. Then the ornaments, glass balls, some shiny, some hand-painted. Shiny, bright ornaments from the 40s and 50s, still hanging on family trees decades later. Handmade ones from school, covered in glue and glitter. Salt dough ornaments from the 80s, sometimes cracked but still treasured. Kids would hang everything at eye level, creating clumps, leaving the top and bottom bare. Tinsel draped over branches, silver shimmering, a nightmare for the vacuum cleaner months later. And finally, the star or angel on top. Whoever got to put it there felt like they'd won Christmas. Outside, decorations were simpler. String lights along the roofline, sometimes uneven, one section always dark. A wreath on the door. Blow mold figures on the lawn, plastic Santas, snowmen, reindeer glowing from the inside. At night, you'd pile into the car and drive around the neighborhood, looking at everyone else's lights, comparing, judging, marveling. Presents started appearing under the tree days before Christmas. Wrapped boxes with tags, some said from Mom and Dad, some said from Santa. You'd shake them, hold them up to your ear, try to guess. Your parents would catch you and say, "Don't touch," but you'd do it anyway when they weren't looking. The waiting was torture. Advent calendars with little doors you'd open each day. Paper chains you'd tear one link off every morning, counting down. Chocolate calendars where you'd sneak ahead and eat tomorrow's piece early. The days dragged. School felt endless. The excitement built until it felt like you might explode. Christmas Eve had its own rituals. Some families went to church, candlelight services, everyone dressed up, carols echoing through the sanctuary. Others stayed home, watching the same movie or TV special they watched every year. A Charlie Brown Christmas, Rudolph, Frosty, you knew every line. Before bed, you'd set out cookies and milk for Santa. Maybe carrots for the reindeer. Your parents would nod, pretend not to notice, half playing along even though you were starting to suspect the truth. You'd lie in bed listening to the house settle, hearing your parents moving around downstairs, imagining sleigh bells, footsteps on the roof, the glow of the tree lights visible through your cracked bedroom door. Some families opened one present on Christmas Eve, usually pajamas, a small gift, something to tide you over. The negotiation over which one to open was serious business, but even after you opened it, you couldn't sleep. Christmas Eve felt impossibly long and impossibly short at the same time. You'd wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, check the clock, try to go back to sleep, fail, check again. Finally, when you couldn't stand it anymore, you'd sneak down the hallway. The living room glowed, the tree, the presents, new ones that weren't there last night, stockings full, bikes or big toys unwrapped and waiting in the corner. Your parents made you wait, not until 6, not until everyone's up, not until we've had coffee. The waiting was agony, but finally they'd give in and Christmas would explode. Some families took turns, one gift at a time, everyone watching. Parents with cameras, film cameras, snapping photos, the flash bright and blinding. Later, bulky camcorders recording every reaction. Others let everyone tear in at once, paper flying, ribbons everywhere, bows landing on the floor, chaos and joy and noise. The gifts themselves were specific to the era. In the 70s, Atari 2600, Star Wars action figures, Stretch Armstrong pet rocks. In the 80s, Rubik's Cubes, Cabbage Patch Kids, Transformers, Nintendo, My Little Pony, Care Bears. In the 90s, Game Boys, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Tamagotchis, Furbies, Beanie Bobbies, PlayStation. And then there were the practical gifts. Sweaters, pajamas, socks, books. You'd smile, say thank you, set them aside. But the toys, those were the winners, and inevitably batteries weren't included. Your dad would dig through drawers, hunting for AAs or CS or DS, trying to get the toy working while you bounced impatiently. If you'd like a longer, deeper version of this story, tell me in the comments and write longer version. Now, let's keep going. Siblings would compare. I got more. Yeah, but mine's better. Little arguments, trading, sharing. The living room would be a mess of torn paper, empty boxes, new toys scattered everywhere. And you, in the middle of it all, felt like the luckiest kid in the world. After the presents came the relatives. Either they'd come to you or you'd go to them. Cars pulling up, coats piled on a bed, shoes by the door, the smell of winter air mixing with the smell of food already cooking. Aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents, the house filled with voices. The table was set with the good dishes. Tablecloth, maybe pastel or floral. A centerpiece, candles, a ceramic nativity, a bowl of ornaments. The food was simple but massive. Turkey or ham, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls, gravy, cranberry sauce from a can still shaped like the can, salads, casseroles. Dessert table loaded with pies, cookies, fudge, candy bowls. The adults clustered in the kitchen and dining room, talking, laughing, catching up, who was doing well, who they were worried about, work, family. The same stories told every year. The kids, off in corners, bedrooms, living rooms, trying out new toys, setting up racetracks, playing with action figures, board games spread out on the floor, video game consoles hooked up to the TV. The TV played in the background, Christmas movies, holiday specials, sports games, football mostly. Nobody really watched, it was just on, part of the atmosphere. People drifted in and out, napping on the couch, picking at leftovers, refilling coffee. The day stretched out slow and easy. Time blurred, morning into afternoon into evening, all in the same house, the tree still glowing in the corner, the smell of food lingering, wrapping paper still scattered on the floor, and somehow it felt perfect. Everyone together, no rush, no agenda, just Christmas. By evening, things wound down, the relatives left. The house got quieter. You'd change out of your nice clothes, if you'd even bothered wearing them, into something comfortable. The living room was a mess, wrapping paper half cleared, bowls of nuts and candy half empty, glasses with melted ice, a half-finished puzzle on the coffee table. The tree lights were still on, maybe the only lights in the room now. You'd sit there, surrounded by your new toys, flipping through a new book or playing with a new game. Your parents would be cleaning up. Quietly, tired but content, someone would doze in a chair, someone else would pick at dessert one more time. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet. If there was snow, it would glow softly under the streetlights. If not, the porch lights and tree lights from other houses would flicker through windows, the whole street settling into the same calm. You'd feel it then, that mix of emotions, deep contentment, a little sadness that it was over. Gratitude for the day, your stomach too full, your feet tired, but your heart warm. Christmas back then wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about matching decorations or picture-perfect moments for social media. It was about what happened in that living room, around that table, with that specific group of people, year after year. The same traditions, the same tree, the same ornaments, the same food, and that repetition wasn't boring, it was comforting, it was home, it was Christmas. That was Christmas in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Decorating inside and out, the long wait and Christmas Eve, the explosion of Christmas morning, long family days with food and laughter, and the quiet night at the end glowing with tree lights and contentment. Simple traditions that repeated every year and somehow that made them even more special. Tell me in the comments what part of Christmas back then lives strongest in your memory. Decorating, Christmas Eve, opening gifts, family meals. Or just sitting by the tree at night. And if you want the full, longer version, just let me know.